Welcome back to the Barca Breakdown. My name is Yusuf, and I'm here with my co-host Adam.
What's up, guys? Smash that subscribe button, hit the like, thumbs up, and let us know in the comments what you guys think and how you're feeling ahead of a pretty monumental Europa League tie against Napoli. It's a little bit of a new feeling for us to go, and I'm wondering how much of the team will carry some of that trauma against second leg away, right? We think back to Anfield, where Barca haven't been great in the past, but I'm pretty hopeful, Yus, because we had a great 1-1 draw against Napoli, right? I think all of us left that game thinking we could have won easily 3-1, 4-1, and, of course, you can't count those goals that Ferran Torres missed or that Pedri could have shot better or Aubameyang, but there was definitely an energy and a zeal to that performance that I thought we were all pretty proud of, right? We had one defensive lap where Eric Garcia, Frenkie de Jong kind of just stood like statues off of a, Ter Stegen rebound that got put away and put Napoli up 1-0, but I thought we had a lot to be happy with after that game, and then, of course, we had this Valencia game at the weekend. We won 1-4, and that had just a wonderful first half, and so going into this game, Yus, I want to hear what your thoughts are, how you're feeling, and whether you think we'll come away with a win in this tie.
Yeah, so, okay, our first game, like you just went over, definitely was great in my eyes. I thought we could have won that game, and then we won the Valencia game, and I'm feeling good coming into this game, even though that we're away, and even though internationally we haven't done too well. Obviously, we got knocked out of the Champions League. That's why we're here in the Europa League, playing against Napoli. But I think we're on an upswing right now. I think the players are getting to know each other a little better, intermix with each other. Gavi, Pedri, Nico, Frenkie. The midfield overall has been pretty good. Busquets has been taken out in the last two games. He was taken out to start against Napoli.
And that was a big thing, right? I think if you look at the game against Napoli, Busquets was a super sub, right? And we have, talked so much in the last few years, and especially the last year and a half, really, about how Busquets in these big European ties, when the opposing midfield is going to press us a lot and cause a lot of havoc at our backline, Busquets is a little bit too slow. And, Xavi, one thing he did for really the first time this season, he put in Busquets as a sub, not a starter against Napoli, and I thought that worked wonders. Especially, Napoli in that second half of the game, they had kind of parked the bus a little bit. I felt like their actually stamina wasn't up to the level of Barca's because of our youth, and that we were really putting it to them. And so they parked the bus. Busquets comes in as a sub. I really like that. And I think the fact that Busquets was a starter against Valencia might be foreshadowing that Xavi will do the same strategy of having Busquets come off the bench. And that's kind of where I want to go with this, Yus. Like, looking at the lineup right in the first leg, we had Stegen, then we had Mingueza, Piqué, Eric Garcia, Jordi Alba. In the midfield, we started Nico, Frenkie de Jong, and Pedri. And then up front, we had Dembele and Traoré, Aubameyang, and Ferran Torres, right? And so I think if you look through that lineup from the first leg, there are a few changes we could make, right? Number one, I think, Araujo is now healthy. He's back, and I have to believe Piqué and Araujo will start and Eric Garcia will be on the bench. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, totally. I mean, Eric Garcia, in my eyes, I've said a million times, he's just not up to par to play right now. I think he makes too many mistakes. We saw him in Espanyol making that blunder of a move that caused that 2-2 draw. He just doesn't look like he can hold his own on the pitch a lot of times. On the goal against Napoli, he was nowhere to be found. He's just kind of standing there watching the ball. He should be working to cover the rebound.
And
so, of course, I want
Araujo.
Araujo.
Is that Eric Garcia is lauded for his ability to pass out of the back, but I think at this point, with our defense and how at times we can have so many lapses, it's really much more important for us to have Araujo, whose profile is much better at defending, but probably not as good, definitely not as good at facilitating out of the back. But I think for right now, Piqué and Araujo are a step above, right?
That's a good point, though. I just want to say that Araujo may not be as good at passing out the back, but I think our offense has increased. So I don't think we need to rely on Eric Garcia passing out the back as much, and that's okay. We need to bolster that defensive line and make sure we don't get scored against. I would much rather have it that way than the other way, but keep on going.
So then if you slide over to the right back position, right? Against Napoli in that first leg, we started Oscar Mingueza, and he had a pretty bad game, right, where he was frequently he got nutmegged at one point pretty embarrassingly. He ran at a lot. I feel like they found a lot of attack on that side of the pitch. And then we put in Serginho Dest, somewhere in the second half, and he looked better. And then against Valencia again this weekend, he had a pretty good game, I thought, overall. And so, I really do think that the change we have to make for sure besides Araujo is we have to put in Dest in that back line as our right back, because what we saw against Napoli was that they basically had two men on Adama Traoré the whole game. And they did that because there wasn't really that offensive threat or that speed coming from Mingueza. And so I think starting Dest is going to be key to unlocking not just, the offensive movement and passing from the right back, but also really it's going to help Traoré flourish if he starts this game, or Ousmane Dembele if he starts.
Yeah, I think that it'll work out, but Dest needs to push forward a little bit more offensively. I find he tries to play more of a defensive game, but when Traoré is getting double-teamed, it would be helpful if Dest moved up or moved inward a little bit to maybe take off a defender or maybe get in front of Traoré so they can get a pass up. I think it'll work out, definitely, but he needs to be more offensively minded. And then on top of that, you were saying, dude, I need Dembele to start this game. I think one problem we had was when they were parking the bus. A lot of times we let them form their defense and not make a breakaway like Dembele's so good at, and then be able to find the open spaces, maybe give it to Aubameyang, even cross it over to or cut it in to Pedri, who's been taking a couple shots recently.
So who do you want Dembele to start in the front three?
Front three, it's got to be Dembele, Aubameyang, and Traoré. And I think I said this on the last video near the end of it, but I think with that width that we can create with those two, we can cross the balls in, and maybe even later in the game, if it need be, we can take out Aubameyang, put in Luuk De Jong, and now we have a double threat on the wings to cross in the ball and get a header in, right?
That's interesting because I definitely have been saying for a while now I want to see Traoré and Dembele start on the wings, but I'm a little bit worried about doing that in a big game. So I think even though I want to see kind of what you said, Dembele, Traoré, and Aubameyang, I think what we'll probably see is Dembele, Aubameyang, and Ferran Torres. I think that's probably the more pragmatic approach that Xavi will go with. But it should be very interesting to see. How do you think he'll actually go? Do you think he'll follow Yusa's advice and take the front three you had recommended?
No, I think he's been preening on Ferran Torres recently. Like, once we got him, he's been starting pretty much every game, even if he doesn't perform very well, in which overall he has not performed very well. I think he's made 2 goals, one of them being a penalty in the game against Napoli, and the other one was a
beautiful
goal.
Long shot, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he scored a beauty. I think one thing we mentioned on the previous video that's important to reiterate is that we have been noticing overall Dembele performs much better as a starter. Right, we had talked about how Dembele, when he comes on as a sub, it feels like there's too much pressure. It feels like the defense kind of is always looking at him because they know he's been put on to make that impact. Whereas if you have Dembele from the start, he can warm up. He can, get really just adjust to the game and figure out how the defense is going to line up and not have that pressure, in the 70th, 80th minute that, oh my God, I have to make some magic happen. And I think when Dembele is calm and when he doesn't feel like a tremendous amount of pressure on him, that's when he performs the best. And so I'm hoping to see Dembele definitely start.
No, I totally agree with you. We have him as far as we know until June, which is about, really, it's only 3.5 months here. We got to utilize him in, I don't know when the exact end of the Europa League is or when the final will be played, but we got to use him that whole time because he is just too good to not be played. It would be a waste of we've already paid this guy. Use him until he leaves or we can re-sign him. But overall, I think this game can be won. I have high hopes for it because I know we've been performing very well. The first game I thought we should have won anyway. In this case, I think the only biggest difference we're coming into this game is that we're not at home. So we're going to have to play with the lack of support. But even though Dembele got booed when he came in, I believe, for Traoré in that game, it doesn't matter. I think we got this. We just have to be smart about it. Xavi's got to be smart, play the right lineups, make substitutions at the right time, adjust to their...
For me, the big thing is going to be is that if Napoli hit us with an early goal and get us kind of frazzled, or if, we're at a tie 0-0, 1-1 in like the 50th, 60th minute, I really would like to see Luuk De Jong get a chance earlier in the game.
You become a Luuk De Jong stan.
Well, I think everyone has been, right? Like everyone who's been watching these games. Yeah, exactly. I mean, right? I think it's a totally reasonable expectation to have. Like, everyone who's seen him play in these last few games, I think Luuk De Jong has scored like 3 goals that have gotten us somewhere around 8 points, something like that,
Sure.
7 points. And so Luuk De Jong is absolutely a great super sub for us to use with the current lineup we have, and with the lack of like other striker who might be better than him. And so the only thing I hope is that we can put on Luuk De Jong with 70 minutes gone, not with 80 minutes gone or 85 minutes gone. I feel like sometimes we've been making subs too late, and we haven't really touched the midfield yet, but I do hope that we again see Busquets come off the bench. I really don't want to see him start because I'm a little bit worried about how that can leave us susceptible to a goal early. And I really do think one thing we have to think about with this team is even though we've gotten over the hurdle somewhat of Alba, Lenglet, PK in that back line with Busquets, right? All that trauma of these Champions League defeats that we faced that have, gotten us rather dejected and had the team really fearful in big games, I felt, for the last 3-4 years, right? We have a young squad now. So I do believe that they'll be able to, weather the storm if we go down and still have that belief in themselves that we can take the victory. But, they might be nervous. This is probably the biggest game most of them have played in their professional career so far, right, besides El Clasico. And so, I'm very curious to see how these young players perform. Will Frankie de Jong keep taking those steps up he has under Xavi? Will Pedri continue to just show us he's a world-class player and that he's ready to be, a monumental player in Barca's history? And then, how will whoever gets a shot up front, Traoré, in his first, big game with Barca, Aubameyang, fresh off a hat trick, feels confidence, so much. Torres wants to redeem himself. Dembele wants to prove to the fans that, hey, he's here and he's going to give his heart out, right? I feel like there's all these narratives for all of our players to just, really either show up and beat their expectations or just feel dejected, and I'm really curious to see how it manifests.
No, that's awesome, great points. And, thinking of the young players, this game has to be played like a finals. It's an international game. It may be our one chance at getting a trophy this season because obviously I don't think we're going to win La Liga with the way things are going. We've been talking about top 4. So I think the young players can see that this is our opportunity. We have to put it all on the pitch coming in to Thursday's game away at Napoli. Huge game. It's got to be won. It's got to be everything on the line. If a player comes off and says, I could have done more, I think they went in with the wrong mindset, And I think Pedri, Xavi, Dembele, Traoré, they've all been putting in full effort, FDJ as well, trying to win these games, and it's been slowly happening. So I'm excited about this game, Adam. I really want to see us come away with a win against Napoli. But yeah,
hey,
any last
with
comments?
that, man? No, I say let us know in the comments what you guys think we should start in that front 3, midfield, and back line. Let us know if you're hyped up and your score predictions, because I'm predicting we're going to win 3-1. Use.
Oh, shoot. Okay, I'm going to go 2-1. 2-1.
All right, let's see it, guys. Let us know in the comments your thoughts. We'll see you guys later. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.